Hi, my name's Colin. I'm going to be talking about me getting diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 20 in this video. And it's going to be me talking about the past year or so of my life. Now, I want to make it clear at the beginning of this video that I started this journey by getting medication, and it changed absolutely everything. It has changed my life for the absolute better. This is not an endorsement to get right onto medication if you do have ADHD or end up getting diagnosed with ADHD. I'm just saying this because you need to make an informed decision before you get onto medication. Do your research, talk to your doctors, all of that. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to the video and this wild ride of a year that I've had. Now, where do we start? Jesus. I guess we go back to December of 2020. I was on winter break with my family, and we were up at my grandpa's house in the mountains skiing during winter break, as we usually do. And I was scrolling on YouTube, as usual. I believe I was watching a bunch of Jarvis Johnson videos, who is a fantastic creator. I suggest going check out all of his videos. Fantastic. But I got onto watching a bunch of his videos, and I saw that he had a podcast. It was in the recommended below the video that I was watching at the time, and I was like, I'll check it out. It was called the Sad Boys Podcast. The specific video that I came across at this point was called We Are All the Same, and it had special guest Drew Gooden on that episode. And I was like, oh, I like Drew's content as well. I'm gonna watch this episode of this podcast. It seems super interesting. And I started to watch it, and they started talking about like a bunch of RuneScape stuff, which was pretty interesting because I had never really played RuneScape or anything like that. And it was interesting to get their takes on all of specifically like the content creation. But then they get to start talking about their mental health and how I think all three of them in that podcast struggled with ADHD. And they talk about their experience with it. And the more they talked, the more I could heavily relate with absolutely everything that they said in that episode. Like everything. And it was mind-blowing to kind of start to realize, oh, maybe I have this. And it was kind of scary. Before this point, the extent of my knowledge of ADHD was kids just not being able to pay attention at all. And that was the extent of my knowledge. Like, that was bare bones information on it, and I never really looked into it at all ever in my life. Now, the night that I watched this was the night before we were headed back. So we were headed back home the morning after. And that car ride on the way home, I had never felt that alone and worried that something was wrong with me. I just remember sitting in that 3-hour car ride just trying not to break down completely in front of my family. We eventually made it home, and I continued to do research for about a month on ADHD, not telling anybody that I was really looking into it, except for the people really, really close to me at the time. I kept looking at medical documents and personal experiences that people have had with ADHD and how they deal with it, because what I found is everybody's ADHD that they deal with, it's very specific and very different for each person. I started to look more and more throughout my life and my life experiences and seeing more signs of me having ADHD, and it kind of made sense of a lot of things, but seeing the personal experiences and people talking about it really helped to make me not feel alone trying to figure that out, because that's hard, realizing that there might be something chemically wrong with you in your brain. It was just really scary at the time, and that's why I felt like breaking down in that car on that day. Now let's move on to the diagnosis. So it was about 3 months after December, so March, it would have been, I think it was the end of March that I originally got diagnosed, but at the middle of March, I actually had a consultation to figure out if I actually had this and talk it out. And I filled out the paperwork and stuff, and of course, for that consultation that day, I ended up being late, and they couldn't fit me in because I was like 15 minutes late. And I just remember being so sad at that moment. I had been looking forward to that consultation and having like a medical professional that deals with this day in and day out to tell me that I'm not crazy and that I do have ADHD, and I needed that validation from someone that knew what they were talking about and not just me scrolling on the internet. I just remember going back to my car and just like breaking down, crying, just completely. I just broke down completely, wanting this nightmare to be over, wanting it to just like talk to a medical professional at that time. And I remember calling up my mom and just saying like, I missed it, like I need to make another one. And I was trying to hide how broken up I was about that, but I knew she could tell, and that was really hard. But I made another consultation for the week after, and I go in, and the doctor's fantastic. She's amazing, and I fill out the paperwork and stuff, and then we start talking about it, and by the end she's like, yeah, you have pretty extreme ADHD. How have you gone this long without getting diagnosed? And I was like, I don't know. And she suggested to get on medication. Now, I was a little hesitant on getting into medication because there is a stigma around medication, whether it's for anything at all. Because, like, you hear horror stories, of course, like specifically like opioids and like all of those addictive drugs that just completely destroy people's lives. And I didn't want to fall into that pitfall because I know for a fact that I have an addictive personality, and I did not want to fall into that and have that issue. So I did my research on it. I saw the pros and cons of the medication, what are the symptoms, what could happen. And one of the big things that was like a red flag for the medication was like suicidal thoughts. And I knew that I had dealt with depression since middle school. I'd never gotten an actual diagnosis for it, but I know I had. And it was been a struggle in my life, my whole life, to this day. And that was the biggest red flag. So I was like, okay, I need to be extremely careful with this. And so I got onto the medication. Now, up to this point, for about a month before I got diagnosed, I had been extremely out of shape. I'll show a picture of myself and what I looked like in December of 2020, the beginning of 2021-ish. We'll get to that in a bit. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. For about a month before I got diagnosed, I was just going on a walk outside for an hour a day. And that was really helping my mental health. Letting myself just like breathe and just stop thinking and stop scrolling and stop worrying about figuring out this ADHD whole thing. And it was really nice. And I was just taking an hour walk every day. So I got the diagnosis, and then I got the medication. And so it takes about an hour to kick in. So I wake up like normal, do my normal stuff, shower, brush teeth, just breakfast and stuff. And then I go on my hour walk. And in the middle of that walk, there's this stop sign that I had passed like 30 times because I had walked like every day that past month. And I swear to God, the color of it looked different. The colors looked differently. It like kicked in, and I don't know if it's like the ability to like focus, to be able to focus on like one thing at a time, but it was just so life-changing. I cannot describe it, and other people have had this type of reaction to it where like colors have looked differently. It's really interesting, but I had that reaction, and like I looked at the grass and I was like, that's green and that's red, holy fuck. Like, it sounds so fucking stupid. I know how it sounds, but that's what it was like. And maybe it was because I had been so sad for so long, but it was just like the chemicals in my brain were just fucked. And it gave me, so I guess I'll get to what the medication really helped me with. So what the medication really helped with and helps with to this day is really just giving me a good baseline. Because I've never been able to just like be, if that makes sense. Like a calm, just baseline. I was either all the way up or all the way down. I never had just like the baseline, like I'm calm, I'm not like super like excited about something or like just completely down in the dumps, depressed. I had that baseline, and I can't describe how much it helped me to just like live like now. I realized how much I was thinking about the past and present, and apparently people with ADHD experience time differently. That's fucking weird. But yeah, it completely changed where I could just like be like right now. I could just be here talking to my phone camera. Fucking Jesus. And the ability to focus on one thing at a time. One thing that really was crazy was I started reading, and I was like, holy shit, I don't have 5 other thoughts going on in my brain at the same fucking time. Oh my God, this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. I'm actually able to like get into a flow state so easily. Like I could count on my hands maybe how many times I could get into, like had gotten into a flow state in my life before I got into medication. And it was just so much easier to just focus on one thing and just focus out on that one thing for a little while. And it just made all the difference to just live in the here and now. Now, with this newfound ability of focused and calm and actually being like able to focus on one thing at a time, I had 2 goals. 2 goals for the rest of that semester and the coming summer and beyond. It was learn to type. I had never known how to like regular type, like home row. Like I had always just tapped, and it had been always so annoying. And I'd been wanting to learn how to type since like the end of like high school, but I could never get myself to get on that like diligent schedule and routine of doing it every single day to get better at it. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna just type an hour a day. And there's this really good program, it's free, it's just called the ED Club. It's just like a bunch of like, and that's how I learned to type. Just a bunch of things, and it shows you where all of the letters are, and it really helps. It's fantastic. And it's not that we didn't learn how to type in school, it was like in elementary school and like tech class, but I never gave a shit. I never ever tried to give a shit about learning how to type. I just didn't care. You know, we had like the orange covers over the keyboards. Yeah, I didn't give a fuck. I don't even know what I was doing. I was probably just fucking doing nothing. I don't even know what I was doing during that time. But yeah, I just didn't know how to type. So I wanted to learn how to type. That was the whole point of that whole thing. I wanted to learn how to fucking type. Second thing, probably more important thing, was get into a workout routine and diet. When I got onto med, I was eating so shitty and so many fast foods because I was just doing it for the dopamine. I just needed that immediate release of like, I just needed to feel okay for like a second. It sounds really sad, and it was. That's how it was. I needed that little release of dopamine in my brain just to feel a little something, to feel like not be depressed for a second. And I had been extremely overweight. In the end of 2020, I was at my worst mental and physical state I had ever been in my entire life. Like, absolute worst. Like, horribly depressed, horribly addicted to weed, horribly out of shape, and I was at 30% body fat at that time. And we'll get to that. I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, it was bad. So yeah, I wanted to type, and I wanted to get into a workout routine and get into shape. Now this sounds great so far, right? Everything's going great. I'm working out. I'm typing an hour a day, working on myself. Now, about a month into taking my medication, I get dumped by my girlfriend of almost 3.5 years. Yeah, that was hard. That was really hard. And I have nothing but love and respect for that person. I'm not gonna show, that's weird, but I'm just, because it gives context to what happens next in my mindset going into everything afterwards. But there were things, like obviously relationships are extremely complicated, but I was extremely like codependent, I realized after the fact. And being on the medication, I realized that I actually liked myself and liked being alone with myself. Beforehand, I always wanted to be around someone else because I hated being alone with myself. Even if when I was alone with myself, I was always either consuming content, trying to distract myself from just being there for me. And yeah, and there was nothing really bad, like really, really bad that happened with us or anything like that. It was just more so we grew apart, in those few months. And yeah, that it still hurt though a lot, because 3.5 years was a long time. That's a long time. And that's the only girlfriend that I've ever had. So that hurt like a motherfucker. But the thing that hurt the most, I think, was the fact that I was in my worst mental and physical state of my entire life, like 4 months prior to that. And that at that point I was starting to get to like the best I had ever been mentally and physically, like ever that I had been in my life. And it just hurt to know that she saw me at my absolute worst and not get to see my absolute best. I think that's what hurt the most. But I also had to forgive myself a little bit, because I realized that I was doing all of that, like smoking a shit ton of weed and just eating like shit, not exercising, not doing anything, because I was in survival mode. I was so depressed and so focused on other worldly events that I had no control over, like no control over whatsoever. I put so much of my self-worth into these things that I could not control, that it was just throwing me into this depression that it was just like so deep and so everlasting that I didn't see a way out, until I randomly came to that podcast, and it just kind of like opened everything up. And I stopped smoking weed after I saw that podcast and started looking into everything. And that genuinely, that podcast had changed my life. Like, it has changed my fucking life. Holy fuck. I know I'm ranting, but like, this shit means so much to me. Like, this past year has been the best year of my fucking life. It is the first year that I feel like I'm an actual human being. That I'm gonna start crying. I'm just here in my fucking apartment room, and I'm just gonna start crying talking about this to myself. Fuck. But where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about getting dumped, and we slowly grew apart and stuff like that. And I knew one thing. I could do one of two things. I could go into a deep, dark pit of despair, go back to my old habits, or I could throw myself into this routine and really see what I was made of. I chose the latter. And also, I looked like this at the time of my diagnosis. Yeah, it's been a fucking year. It's been a crazy fucking year. Now, how was I able to do this? It was a mix of anger, sadness, a lot of regret, a lot of heartbreak that helped push me. But it came to a point where all of that subsided, and I was doing it for me. And I actually started to enjoy it. Like, the walking outside started turning into running a little bit. And I actually fell in love with running, because I got into this, like, the runner's high. I actually had felt that, and it was fucking incredible. It is fucking incredible. And it's just such a nice feeling. Now, I looked at myself and looked at all of the bad habits and everything. And the one constant of it all was the amount of fucking time I was on my phone per day. Just like this, just like on my bed laying down, just this, like for hours and hours and hours and hours at a time. And I noticed that I was just able to realize that I was on my phone for like 5 minutes and then be like that's life-changing, being able to just set it down. Just set it down. That's all you had to do. I was just able to set it down, and I can't describe how much easier it was on the medication to be able to just do that and just set it down and not have to need to be on my phone all the time. And the typing thing, I would literally put my phone on the other side of the room so that I wouldn't even be tempted to look at my phone at all. And then I started to read, like I talked about. The past Christmas, I really wanted to read the Dune books, and sometimes I asked for books and I knew I wasn't going to read them because I always had 5 thoughts racing through my head. But then on medication, I was just able to read a book. Like, I literally read this entire book in like less than a month, like the first Dune. And the reason I wanted the whole Dune series was because I wanted to read the book before I saw the movie that was coming out. And I read it. And I literally finished this in like less than a month. And then I moved on to the second one, actually. And read this in like less than 2 days. It's much smaller than the first one. Great book, by the way. Fucking incredible world building. But apparently the author was a terrible father. There's like a memoir at the end. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. Now, there's one tool that I used that really helped me to really get through this and do all of my goals every single day. And that is this fucker right here. This guy. This is the journal that I still use today. Like, I still have stuff that I cross off every single day to do. And that's what you do. That's what you just start out with. The thing with all of this, I think, if you can take one thing from this video, start small. Start tiny. Start minuscule. Start with the smallest steps you can do. And then just continue doing that step. And when you're ready, only when you're ready, do it when you're ready. Move to doing more or something different that like adds on to that thing that you were doing before. Like, the only thing that I did in my journal every single day was write down, okay, I'm going to work out, I'm going to go on a walk, and I'm going to type for an hour. And I just wrote those 3 words next to a date and just put a line under it just to segment the days. And I would just cross it off when I did it. And that was it. That was all I did every single day. Like, the first entry that I have for this was March 28th. And this day, yeah, I started this journal like when I started just going on the one walk outside. And it helped me to get things done that I just never would have if I didn't have this, like, okay, I know I have a list of things that I need to do the next day or today or whenever. And it just helped so much with keeping me on track with all of that. Now, the walk was just the hour walk that I talked about, going outside. And outside, like, walk outside. You don't understand how much it will help your mental health just being outside. Just put in some headphones, play some good music, and just go on a walk. 30 minutes one way, 30 minutes back. That's it. That's all you need to do. If you don't have enough time, 15 minutes one way, 15 minutes back. I've found that it takes at least 30 minutes minimum to get into a good headspace where you're ready to do another task or just be calm for the rest of the day. Now, what do I mean by the workout? Because I did add a workout, walk, and typing. The workout, so there's this little app. There's this little app called NTC, Nike Training Club. God damn, this app is so oh my God. Like, if you're just looking to get like in shape or just lose weight and like you're insecure about going to the gym at all and you don't want to go to the gym and you just have a yoga mat, you don't even need a fucking yoga mat. Just download NTC, just a bunch of okay. Now, people in my life will tell you that I'm basically a walking advert at this fucking point for this app called NTC, Nike Training Club. And it's basically what it is. It's just a collection of a bunch of free workouts. This app is completely free. All of these workouts are completely free. There's workouts that are from 5 minutes. There's workouts that are to like an hour, like as long as you want. Like, and what I found was the workout that I did was a HIIT ab workout. And HIIT, if you don't know what that means, is high intensity training, which basically means you're at a high heart rate, high intensity level for an extended period of time, for that little bit of time. So it was a 10-minute HIIT ab workout, which is fucking fantastic. It's the one by KG. Just, oh my, that one will destroy you, and it's great. It's fucking fantastic. And the thing is, if you're out of shape, I wasn't able to even get through 3/4 of it when I started. Just get through as much as you can, but push yourself. That's the thing. You just gotta push yourself. You can push yourself so much further, so much further beyond than you really can, than you ever have, than you could ever imagine. Just push yourself and really strive to just be better. And the thing that helped me was I was just able to focus on that single moment, on the here and now. That's what really helped me to get through it and to push past the just stop, this hurts a lot, this sucks, we still have like 6 minutes to go, oh my God, this sucks. No, just focus on that moment, because that's the only moment we have. And the thing that I like about the HIIT workout was it doesn't give you too much time to think about how tired you are in between the sets of workouts. Like, it just goes. It's like 30 seconds and then a 10-second break and then 30 seconds and then a 10-second break and then 30 seconds and then a 10-second break. It's fast and it's fantastic and it's great. I highly suggest getting NTC and just trying any and all workouts that are on there. It's a fantastic app. I will never stop shilling for this app. And even though it's fucking free. Now, as I started to run more and more of my walks, they more turned into just mostly jogging for like an hour, or most of that time, I noticed that I was obviously doing stretching before I was doing the HIIT workout and the jogging, because I knew that stretching was like super important, and if you didn't stretch you could really injure yourself. But as I started to run more and more, I noticed that I had really bad back pain and hip pain, and this was just due to me not stretching enough of the right muscles and for long enough. So I decided to try a yoga workout on the NTC app, and it's just a 10-minute runners flow by Jonah Kest. That one, it's just like 14 minutes long. It's great. It's a beginner. I do it to this day, and it's fantastic, and it completely fixed my hip and back problem. Just completely got rid of it, and it was just an eye-opening experience. And now I'm one of those people that is like, dude, yoga changed my life. No, yoga changed my life. And I kept falling in love more and more with running, and then I hit my best mile time, which was like 6:48, and I was like, holy fuck, this is incredible. And the best mile time that I had had ever in my life before that was like an 8:15 from like 8th grade. Like, I'd never been that super like cardio, like super fit person ever, and that was just crazy. I'll show a picture of me and me smiling, saying that I got 6:48. It's like a Snapchat picture. Look how happy that guy is. Look at that. I hate that mustache, by the way. I regret that. I regret even trying to grow that out. That thing's disgusting. But it gave me so much confidence, and it was just fantastic. I remember one time I was running, and I was just like, oh, I'm getting a little tired. So I started to like slow down a little bit, and then something like came up in me, and I was like, holy fuck, like I can run. Like I'm not getting like that tired. And I just like sped up, and I just remember like jumping, because like I just remember thinking about how horribly in shape I was at the beginning of 2020 and what that is like. I cannot describe. It's so hard to describe to people that have never been like at that weight, where you're just such a sedentary lifestyle where you're not able to do any physical activity without getting tired at all and not feel good at all. And it's just awful. And it was just like, holy fuck. It was just incredible. Now this is the point where I got into a pretty good schedule, where I would do one day of running and yoga and running, and then the next day I would do yoga and then abs, and then so on for like 6 days, and then the 7th day I would take 1 week off. And this was around the time where I decided, okay, let's take one cheat meal, because it helped to have something to look forward to. And it usually consisted of a small Domino's pizza. And I made sure to not even go over my calories for that day. It was just like a good meal to look forward to. Like, I would still be in a calorie deficit even on that day. And that helped a lot to have something to look forward to every week. And it helped for my body to rest. Like, I needed that rest day for my body to rest to perform at my best for the next week and the week after that and the week after that. The rest is just as important as your physical exercises. It really is. And if you don't know, how you lose weight is you're just burning more calories during a day than you are consuming calories. So everyone has a baseline. It depends on your BMI and all this. You can look it up. There's a bunch of calculators just to give like a baseline if you really want to try and start going into a calorie deficit. And that just means that you're eating less calories than you are burning. And calorie surplus is eating more calories than you're burning during a day, and your base calories are just like the minimum calories that you need per day. Now, up to this point, all of my physical exercise was just me doing it in this room right here, like with about 8 feet of space and just a yoga mat, and that's it. And just me going outside for that hour. And then during this time, I wasn't really seeing a lot of people, because I was just enjoying being with myself, because I couldn't. Before this, I had put so much of I didn't really like being alone with myself, like I talked about. And like for the first time in my life, I actually liked being with me, and it was great. so I didn't really spend that much time with friends or anything like that, because and it sounds lonely, but no, like I had never experienced that type of thing in my life. Just enjoying being with myself and getting that was just really nice. And then I started hanging out with friends, and one of my friends actually invited me to go to the gym with him. And now I'm a very stubborn person. I don't like changing schedules or anything that I set up for myself, and I was a little hesitant to go with him at all, but I ended up going. And he also made me take notes, which was taking notes on the exercise, the reps, and the weight. And about a week into our workout routine that he had, I fell in love. Holy shit, I love the gym. I love the gym so much. It is my safe place now. I love it to death. I started by doing every other day, just a PPL split, so push one day, something the next day, pull leg day, something the next day, leg the next day after that, and those in between days were like just like the abs and stuff. And if you don't know, push is just chest and triceps, pull is back and biceps, and then leg is leg day. Never skip leg day. Such a fucking gym bro now. But no, I'm not, because cardio is great, and the culture is like, no, cardio destroys gains. Fuck that. Cardio is more for heart health and just general health. I feel like weightlifting, it's definitely for like strength and stuff. Like you definitely become stronger 100%. But the reason I do it, I just like the aesthetics part of it. It's just fun too, and also it's just fun to lift heavy things. It's weird. And also I didn't stop doing the stuff that I was doing before. I would literally do the ab workout, and then I would do yoga, and then I would go to the gym, and then the next day I would like run and yoga, and then the next day after that I would do the ab yoga, and then whatever that day was, and so on and so forth. And then I would also take the rest day and with the cheat meal that week. And that was the schedule for a long time there, and it worked really, really well. And also along with this, I was also just doing the typing every day. And this was when I realized, you're the one that gives life meaning. You need to be the one to say, this is the meaning that I want in my life right now. And you need something to occupy your brain. You need to do like work something like mentally challenging for yourself. So that was for me, like the hour of typing a day. And then you need to just move your body every day, which was the physical exercise. And that really helped to mitigate and almost like just squash my depression to such a low level that I didn't really notice it. And I've been the happiest I'd ever been in my entire life. Like I would explain that schedule to people of what I was doing, and they were like, you're fucking insane. What the fuck? Are you crazy? And then I would have this moment. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm really, really fucking happy with what I'm doing right now. And just to have that validation from myself and not needing to care what other people thought about what I was doing gave me so much more happiness, and the validation for myself just helped so much. Like I got so much fulfillment from myself and not from anyone else. I was always the kid that couldn't even wear a t-shirt outside. Like when I started my walk outside, I wouldn't even wear a fucking a shirt, like just a t-shirt. I would have to wear a sweatshirt over because I was so insecure about how I looked and my body and caring about what other people thought. Like my thoughts would be like, oh, people in the cars would look and judge me. No. And that's why I will never, ever, for the rest of my life, ever judge anyone that I see exercising or pushing themselves to strive to be better, because they're just striving to be better. Because that's all we're doing. That's all anyone tries to do. You just try and be better every single day. It's so fucking hard, but I have so much respect for seeing anyone and everyone trying to just be better on that day. Doesn't matter what the fuck happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. They're in that moment. They're trying to be better in that moment, and that's fucking sick. And more people need to just encourage people to like start off slow and start off where they're comfortable, because I feel like we push too much on people in the start of doing things. And that's why I think this has worked for me, because I started really small with just the walk outside, and then gradually have gone up to this, and now I'm going to the gym like 6 days a week now. Like I didn't get to that point by just immediately going into that routine. I would have been burnt out in less than a week. I slowly built myself up to this. And fuck anyone that says that you're not trying hard enough or you're just not good enough at something, because you're trying, and that's all you can do. Just try your hardest. And if you know you're trying your hardest, fuck that person. Cut out all the noise. That's why I didn't spend that much time with people, because I realized how much I cared about what other people thought about me when I was doing things. And it was such a relief to just know that I knew what I was doing was right for me. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. It was fucking fantastic. It's still fucking fantastic to this day. And I was growing at this point as a person. Like I started to subconsciously have respect for myself, because I saw that I was able to get myself to do the things even when I didn't want to do them on those days. I could just get myself to do them anyways. And I had that trust in myself. I had trust in this person right here that I would be doing that thing the next day, whatever the cost. Like whatever happens, I'm able to get myself to do it and not do it. And it just gave me so much more confidence. I started to actually have confidence for the first time in my life and realized, you know what, I kind of like myself. I never really liked myself like before that. And it was just such a breath of fresh air. It was crazy. Now, let's talk about my weight. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty numbers. This photo that I showed you at the beginning was me at 235, 30% body fat. I think the cutoff for obesity is 30% body fat, so I'm just gonna call myself extremely overweight. And yeah, that is the face of a guy that I don't recognize anymore. Now, before I started going to the gym and started going into a calorie surplus, trying to gain mass, I went down to 158, sorry. And it was 10% body fat. And that was my goal originally. I wanted to get down to 10% body fat, and then I would start going into a calorie surplus and try and build up some muscle. And it's not that I didn't have any muscle at this point. It's just that a lot of that muscle was in my legs because it was mostly cardio that I was doing. But now I am around the 285 range, 12 to 13% body fat, trying to cut down to 10%. Because I just came off of a bulk. This is me now. Yeah, kind of crazy that I went from this to this. It's so hard to describe to people what it is like to go from this body experience to this. It's just like, it's a completely different lifestyle. And the thing that helped me, it's just a bunch of choices that you make. You make the right choice of what to eat that day, and you just eat less food. And also, if you're struggling with your appetite, drink a shit ton of water. Like, wake up, just like chug water for like 10 seconds. Just drink a shit ton of water. If you're feeling hungry, drink water. Like, drink water. Water was my saving grace during the weight loss period, and it still is. Water is so fucking important. And the last year has been one of the craziest and best years of my life. Genuinely, it's been the best year of my life. I can't stress that enough. It has been the best year of my entire life. And the fact of knowing that I was in such a dark place mentally and physically for so long there, and seeing myself now, it still doesn't feel real. It feels like I'm still in a dream. And then I realize work I put in, how much effort I really poured into myself, and how much I pushed myself every single day just to be better. Just be better the next day. Just be better. Try and be better the next day. And just continue to try and strive to be better. That's all you can do. And I was actually able to be comfortable in my own skin for the first time. And I don't really know how to end this video, but I'll just say this, I guess. If you're in a bad place right now, mentally, physically, reach out, talk to someone, go to a therapist, go to a medical professional, go to a friend, go to a parent, go to anyone. Pour out your heart and soul to them. Just tell them everything that you're dealing with. Everything, really. The people that have helped me throughout this time really have been there for me. And that's been my rock throughout this entire thing. Like, you can't do it all on your own. And it's so hard if you try and do it all on your own. You don't need to do it all on your own. Try and get help. Just reach out to someone, anyone. And if you don't see a way forward or a way out of the situation that you're currently in, keep going. Don't stop. Do not stop. Keep going. Really. Pick one goal, go for that. Full send it. Whatever you need to do, do it. Get a journal, get whatever on your phone, anything. Just pick one thing to go for and strive for that goal. And if you need to become obsessed by that goal, become obsessed. That's what helps you to give life that's what I'm talking about. You give life your own meaning. And having that goal, having that thing that you're trying to do, and having something that you're trying to strive for really helps in stopping the existential thoughts of the depression and everything. Just go for one thing, and you are so much stronger than you can ever imagine. I know this sounds corny as fuck, but just take it one day at a time. One day at a time. This moment, try and be better, because that's all you got. This moment right here. And if you got no one else, I believe in you. If I can go from this to this, you can do anything. You can do 10 times more than what I did here. So hope you have a good day. Thank you for watching.